boy Q Lewis. Hold it down live on the 48205. I got my man Bo in the building.
Sure, happy Bourbon Day.
No, for sure. It's National Bourbon Day. Well, it is right now while we're recording. By the time you see this, it'll be a couple of days later. But yeah, still shout out to all the Bourbon Nights, I guess we would call them. I don't even know. Today we got something very special, something I've never had. All right, Bo has had it before. He said it's been a little while, and this is a Black Maple Hill. All right, so we about to get into some of that. The bottle actually reminded me of like something out of science class. Like it don't even look like a liquor bottle. It look like a potion bottle. And shit. I watch too much TV, but yeah, that's what we on today. About to check it out, and you said it is
95.
95 proof. All right, I got you. So 47.5.
That's a small batch.
Yeah, I was gonna say small batch whiskey. So you know you've had it obviously before. What made you jump to back to it? Because I know you like it. So what you like about it? I guess
Shit was delicious.
That's pretty simple. Like shit was delicious, cuz.
I don't want to talk about the palate. I want you to taste that shit first, right?
I'm gonna have a hard time, but whatever.
Yeah, it's just I can't really tell you what like it without talking about the taste,
Right.
But yeah,
that's what brought you to it, though. The taste.
Yeah.
How did you get up on it in the first place? Because obviously somebody had to point you to it before you tasted it. So what made you go to it in the first place?
Just just kicking it one day in a cigar bar.
Yeah.
Just old heads. Old heads. We just got to sit down and shut up and listen sometime. What I mean? These old heads, they're probably about 60, 65. They just got to school me on some things, like cigars, drink, politics, whatever.
And that goes with a lot of things, though. Sometimes you just got to shut up and listen.
For sure.
All right, so that's what we on today, man. We go check it out. We got a little bit of background information on it too that we actually just stumbled across. So I'm kind of interested to see what it tastes like, because it's not a lot of times that Bo rave about shit. Like, he really raved about this. Now, he did like the Widow Jane. I wasn't a super soul fan. And then he already told me that I got a pussy palate, so I might not like this one either. He didn't use those words. I use those words. Yeah. But yeah, I do have a softer palate.
Honestly, I don't think he gonna like this one.
Yeah.
But I love it.
You think because it's too rough? You think?
I don't think it's rough, but that's
so I wouldn't like it then.
I just don't think you gonna like it.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see, man. Go ahead and tap that bottle. We'll go ahead and get to it, because that's what we do now. We don't waste no time, I guess. But by it being National Bourbon Day,
Struggling. Look at him.
Yeah. I had to edit this. Usually I take the plastic off before we get started. But yeah, anyway, it's National Bourbon Day, dog. Aside from this, what would be your number one bourbon if you had to celebrate today? Like, what would you normally go to?
I had to celebrate today.
Yeah, like you're celebrating today. Or if you wanted to open a bottle.
Some folks are gonna say some folks are gonna say it's overrated. I don't think it's overrated. It's definitely overpriced for how much it costs per bottle.
Oh, this must be the Pappy.
Pappy.
The Pappy.
I had Pappy back in the day. Are you for real?
It's a good night, man. We gotta cut that shit, bro. Yeah, because there wasn't nowhere to grab it and shit.
I don't think I brought my knife out here.
5 minutes later.
Got a little bit of it, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, the Pappy. I know that from what I've seen, though, obviously it does seem to be a bit overpriced. I will say that.
But you want to drop, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a bottle and shit.
That's a lot, man. That's definitely a lot.
That's significant right there.
Hell yes, that's very significant. Very. Alright, so let's get down to this, though. The science experiment. Nice little pop there. I won't stick my nose into the barrel this time. We'll go ahead and pour it to the glass first. Right, putting COVID-19 droplets in there. Right. Let's see what we got here. All right, I'm smelling a cigar right now. Hold on. Let me move away a little bit. For it to be.
What's the first thing that hits you?
Smoke.
The first thing. To me, I think it's like.
Oh wait! Don't say that.
It just stepped out. No, I didn't say it yet, but it immediately hit me.
I can't smell nothing. Like something. It smells spicy, like woods or something. It don't smell sweet, and that's what I'm used to. And it's mixing with the smoke though, so I gotta taste it. I can't lie.
See, I think citrus. Like I think that The nose, like citrus immediately hit you, like orange, you know what I mean?
I taste it. I don't smell it though. I taste it. It is good though. It's not harsh. I mean, you kind of had said it like it was gonna be harsh.
No, I just said to you, I didn't think you was gonna like it.
No, I like it though.
Because it's complex, right? Because it's got some citrus. It's got a little bit of, how can I say it, like rose or something maybe. And then like, it just kind of settles. Like it just kind of settles down into like some spice or some, like some deep cocoa or something.
The spiciness is at the end, but what's funny is like the kind of citrus, almost an orange taste. This is some weird shit though. This is something I've never experienced until today. When I taste it, I don't even know how to explain this, but I don't taste it on the tip of my tongue. But it rolled down to the side of my tongue, and I can taste it there. Like, which is some weird shit, because I usually, with the citrus taste, I usually taste it like as soon as it hit my tongue. But like this, it don't seem like I don't taste that until it's like almost going down. And then at the end, it's got some spice to it. And you know what it kind of reminds me? The end reminds me of, because you haven't had the basil Hayden yet, have you?
Yeah, I've had basil Hayden. I'm just
the end kind of feels like that though. A little bit of spice at the end, yeah. So it kind of feels like basil Hayden. But
the finish.
The finish. Yeah, the finish. But yeah, initially though, it's I'm honestly confused why you thought I wouldn't like it though, because it's got a sweetness to it because of the citrus. It's got a little sweetness. Like it's not that candy sweetness.
So like
or caramel.
I've always like the people who don't like, or the people who's like, you know, the common theme is because they don't like the complexity. It's complex. It's got a lot of different favorite profiles, and that's probably because it is a blend, right? Yeah. You know, that's probably why it's got a lot of different flavor profiles to them.
Oh, but I do taste the cocoa.
Yeah,
yeah, I do taste the cocoa.
A little bit though.
Yeah,
it's like a deep cocoa. Yeah,
Doug. And when we talk about cocoa, we talking about for real cocoa, like
I'm not talking about like
that bitter shit that you put in your smoothie. That cocoa, not the.
I'm not talking about the Hershey bar.
Right, not that's the quick.
Right. Like cocoa. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But it is National Bourbon Day, man. So salute to all the bourbons and bourbon nights out there. But also, what's really important right now though is
it's smooth.
Juneteenth. It is. It's very smooth. It's Juneteenth, man. So that's what we gonna rap about today. You know what? Before we get into Juneteenth, though, you want to talk a little bit about some of the little background we just went over with the history of the liquor that we drink.
Right so the Black Maple Hill, yeah.
Now, first of all, let me say this. I thought it was a place because it definitely sounds like a place, but we found out it
wasn't. It's not a place, right? Yeah. You know, everybody thinks a place. Mm-hmm. Actually, on the little site they got, you know, it said the same thing. Everybody thinks this is a place, but what it really is it's like this dude who went down to some Kentucky distilleries and was like, man, I need y'all to make me a blend, right? And I don't remember all the distilleries. I had to read it, whatever. But he was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I like this. And how the article put it, he's a dude from California that lives in San Francisco or whatever. That
right.
Like went down to Kentucky and had to make a blend, and he put a label on it and decided to sell it.
And there we have it.
Yeah, there we have it. You know, I made a note too though, because I want to tell y'all real quick before we get off into the real topic though about you know, people be wondering, you know, a little history about bourbon or the different types of bourbon or whatever. So I made a couple notes and I put them down on my phone so I wouldn't forget them all, right? Right. About some things y'all can check out, like documentaries and books about bourbon. So the first one is called Neat, The Story of Bourbon. It was made in 2018. It's on Hulu. Okay. So check it out. You know, if you got Hulu, I think it's free on Hulu actually. So if you don't got Hulu, you might be able to check it out. Okay. The next one's a book called Straight Up Kentucky Bourbon. It's written and it's this documentary. I guess there was like a book out there too. I don't know. Okay. But it's on Amazon Prime for free, I think. Okay. And I think that's the only platform it's on. Okay. Then there's a book called The Social History of Bourbon, Gerald Carson, which is really good. And the last one is Bourbon and History of American Spirit. And that just kind of talk about how no other country can make a bourbon, but
right, exactly. Because somebody asked me about that, like where you can get other bourbons, like when you're outside of the country. I'm like, well, I don't think it's really considered bourbon if it's from somewhere else.
It's considered whiskey. Then.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like Irish whiskey or something like that. Mm-hmm. Real quick though, this way off the subject, and I meant to mention this to you off camera, but I didn't know if you've seen where Uncle Nearest and Jack Daniels putting together this program. I think they put like $20 million into it. For resources for new black distillers.
Yeah.
You peep that?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I think that's dope. And that's kind of what we was talking about before, like a few weeks ago, probably even last season, about like the importance of, black distillers. And this is a step in the right direction. I need to get some more info on that. But right now is a joint effort between Uncle Nearest and Jack Daniels to put together like this program. They're putting in $20 million. Hopefully it'll grow, from there. But this is going to be resources for, up and coming black distillers, like how to get into the game, because this is distilling whiskey, distilling liquor at all is it's something that can become a family legacy. Like this can build wealth, and this is something that we've been kind of shut out of. And especially looking at what's going on now, obviously we can't get away from that. This is a prime opportunity for us to start jumping into some of these real streams of revenue and kind of get back into, well, I can't say back, get into places where we need to be that we haven't been financially. So salute to them for, trying to make some things right. So I did have to mention that.
Definitely.
So let's jump to what we're talking about, Juneteenth. All right, if you're not familiar with Juneteenth, Juneteenth is a national holiday in some places now.
Oh, it's not national holiday. Yeah. Freedom Day.
Freedom Day, right? A celebration of freedom of African Americans. So that was June 19th, 1865. I want you to also understand this too, though, that June 19th, 1865 was 3 years after they actually signed the proclamation. So yeah.
I also want you to know, y'all know this. On top of that, after June 19th, like in Texas, state of Texas, word didn't really get there until a little bit afterwards.
Right, exactly.
So
they were the last to know.
Yeah.
Or the last to acknowledge. So yeah, 3 years after the fact, and then like some time after that, for real, it wasn't really recognized. Mm-hmm. But so that's our Independence Day. So moving forward, I think it is important for us to really start, taking what's the word I want to use? Like, we really just want to bring light to that, though, because I knew it. I've heard of Juneteenth, like, when I was coming up. There wasn't a real push to, educate us on what it was, though.
We should celebrate Juneteenth like they celebrate the 4th of July, basically.
Yeah,
you know what
definitely. I mean? Now, would this be your first year actually celebrating, or have you done this before?
No, I've celebrated before, you know what I mean? And I get it, Freedom Day, and there's a lot of fucked up shit going on and all that type of shit, so, I acknowledge that argument, right? And and there's a lot of validity to it, reason behind it.
Yeah.
My thing is, we gotta celebrate something. Right? You know what I mean? Something that's just ours, and we just gotta celebrate that day, you know what I mean? So that's the type of shit I'm on. That's the vibe, energy I'm on with that. You feel me?
Sure. And this is my thing, too, though. I've never, honestly, I've never celebrated Juneteenth. I really wasn't even in tune with how I should have been celebrating, or even the capacity of what it really means. And a lot of that's my fault, obviously, because I'm old now and I could have did my own research. But this has never been anything that's really been taught to us. So this is something I mentioned on my show last week, Red. I just want to let y'all know that I'm not having it. This is my first time, and yes, this is my first year celebrating it. I may talk a lot of shit about it, but what I don't want black people to do is start tearing other black people down because this is their first time. I'm not jumping on no bandwagon. I'm finally being enlightened. So let's just leave it at that.
That's what's up.
But some people, it's oh, so now you want to. No, we just didn't know. And I think, it's definitely not okay. I'm not going to say it's okay, but at this point, we're learning and we're all moving in a different direction.
The thing that would get worse is that if you did not try to educate yourself about that stuff, you just oh, okay, whatever, it's went about your day. So the fact that people actually try to go figure that stuff out, I'm with that, man. That's what's up.
I'm with it too, man. So salute to Juneteenth, man. If you're not all the way hip, I gave you a small little lesson on what it really means, but definitely educate yourself and your kids and let them know how important that day is, which is June 19th. All right, so it's going to be a couple of days after this airs. Okay, I gotta talk about it.
I know. Before you go there,
I gotta talk
before you go there.
Okay, all right. So
y'all know me by now. Y'all know I get kind of angry sometimes. So I do want to say this. I'm only going to address the docile ass Negroes one time. Right? So a lot of that, what Q was just talking about, right? Is some of those people jumping on other black folks for not knowing or whatever it may be. people were different. We also about black people being diverse. And some of these docile ass niggas, I go back to June 19th, 1865, from the research I've done, and there was a lot of like slaves like, hey, you free. Go do what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
And this might surprise some of y'all. Like some of them didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Some of them would have stay and chill.
Yeah.
And like,
this is true. Facts.
And some people that I know that I had conversations with Juneteenth about, they're like, I don't know how you can do that and blah 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 and this and that and whatever. And like, I get part of that argument, but I actually argue against that, right? Because think about it. You got nothing anywhere, right? There's no, like, so we'll talk about Emancipation Proclamation and the abolition and freeing the slaves and Abraham Lincoln and shit like that.
Right.
Lincoln made it very clear that, yes, I don't want slavery, but y'all motherfuckers are not equal. Like, hold up. Like, y'all not equal.
Right.
Like, we ain't put anything in place for you to thrive either. So, yeah, freedom is better to being a slave, definitely. And I would have been on, like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Right.
But you gotta think, you gotta put yourself in those shoes of a slave that now has nothing.
Right.
Like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like that'd be scary to some folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To a lot of folks.
To a lot of folks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to automatically dismiss those people, even though like we think they on some soft type shit.
Yeah.
And they may have been.
Right.
But I don't think we could ever. We talk about it, but I don't think we could ever really put ourselves in their shoes.
Yeah, because you've been
at that point, right?
You've been conditioned for hundreds of years, and then bam, all of a sudden, you free. Like, all right, so now what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of like that's almost like having it's probably a bad analogy, but it's almost like having kids though, and then like you just leave them to fend for themselves with no prior education on what to do once you out here. It's kind of the same thing. So I understand why it was like that. But which is also why, I don't want to get all political, but it's also why all of these laws that are still in place to this day were put in place back then, because basically they knew that it was going to be people out here that didn't know what to do with themselves. So like, let me give you these laws, so now I can make you a
systematic racism.
Exactly. Now I can call you a criminal, and now I can take those rights back that you thought you had in the first place. I didn't want to go there, but we had to go there.
So now we got to talk about it. Go ahead.
All right, man. So now since the announcement, obviously, I guess the date has been changed. But if you didn't know, then good old 45 had actually planned to have his first return rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Juneteenth. So when I saw this, right? So I seen it in our group text, and then I seen it on Facebook somewhere, and I just immediately started drafting a Facebook post, because that's what we do now. Like, I want everybody to know what I'm thinking right then, so I did it. And if you don't follow me on Facebook or any social media, I'll just tell you what I said. Basically, I'll sum it up. But I basically said that 45 scheduled a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you don't understand, I'm not gonna ask you if you understand. I'm gonna tell you the importance of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma is the place where they massacred just a whole village of black people, thriving businesses, thriving families, and like murdered them. Like, this was like a literal massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So he chose this place on Juneteenth to have a rally. So I said, I didn't even put it on just 45. I said, if this don't let you know that America is simply saying, fuck you niggas. And this is what I said, fuck you niggas. If you don't understand that that's what America is saying to you, then I don't know where you came from or who sent you. Those are my exact words. That's what I said. Because if you don't understand what comes with scheduling a rally on that day, knowing that you are being perceived as a racist. Let's say that he's not a racist. Like, I mean, obviously he is, but let's say that he's not. That perception is there. So if you have a rally on that day, it's a slap in the face, dog. And what I was saying earlier this week was that either they gonna have to change the date, or it's gonna be a problem, because people gonna protest at a Trump rally anyway. Like, people gonna protest, but by it being where it's at on that date, it wasn't gonna be pretty. Like, it was gonna get violent. And the only thing that worried me about that, because trust me, at this point, I mean, we passed that point. So when shit get violent, it's just gonna get violent. But what I didn't like about that is that right, you know what I'm saying? Just like Dave Chappelle said, once it gets violent though, at that point, it's gonna give them that opportunity to like change the narrative. And that's the only thing I was worried about. So I'm glad that he changed the date, but I still feel some kind of way though. I still feel some kind of way about the shit.
Yeah, because he initially picked that date for a reason. It wasn't. Don't think that's any type of coincidence or anything like that. That was strategic.
Yeah, because you can call him dumb all you want, but he do shit strategically.
And you know what he also did with that is like he even emboldened his base even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's free. Fuck them niggas on Freedom Day.
Basically,
You know?
basically, yeah, that's exactly what it was. This is really good though. Yeah, this is actually pretty good.
Oh, Killmonger. There's Killmonger out here. I fuck with Killmonger, boy. So you know what I mean?
Right.
Hey,
you have to get a close up on Killmonger.
Yeah, you had to put him out here a little bit. You know?
So what did you? Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, like I said earlier, I know things ain't great, but we got to find something to celebrate, right? Yeah, and I was thinking about this a little earlier. You know, somebody that we don't celebrate enough in the city of Detroit. And not that they're, I don't mean to take anything away from this guy. I'm not saying there's some living legend and nothing like that. But effort counts for a lot, right? Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
In his school.
Yeah, true that.
Like, he's doing big things for these young kids in his school.
No, for sure.
Like, they having like 1,000 kids so he's graduated, and they're doing like big things.
For sure.
You know, find something to celebrate. Like, celebrate him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. And that was a legitimate argument, like, because I think he said something. Like, he took a couple of shots at it, when LeBron was first starting his school. Like, basically, like, he'd been doing it.
Yeah, that's what he said on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and a lot of people was like, oh, he shouldn't have said, like, but in real life, he has, though. And you know what? He is one of the few people that, like, he don't get celebrated like he should, especially here. Like, if nobody else understands, we should understand because he's ours. You know what I'm saying?
That's right,
and that nigga Fade be crispy as hell.
all the time.
Nigga Fade be crispy as hell. But yeah, no, you know what though? Salute to Jalen Rose for real, because he don't get enough credit for that school, and they are graduating a lot of kids, and a lot of these kids are going to college. Like this is a different opportunity for kids from Detroit. I know a lot of people watch us from other places, but you hear a few things about Detroit, but like being a product of Detroit public schools, I understand it's rough. Like everybody don't get that same opportunity to get the higher education, or even to have teachers and staff in a school that genuinely cares what you do with your life. So yeah, shout out to Jalen Rose for sure, the Jalen Rose Academy. Dog.
Something else he said too that really stuck with me. With all this going on, there's been some talk about these big time athletes in high school going to HBCUs.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a dope idea, especially in basketball.
Yeah.
I'm going to say especially basketball because of something he said. He said, you can go to Europe and get a check.
Yeah.
You can go to the G League and get a check. And a significant check with the G League now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, there's places for these kids out of high school to go and get some
go to college. Yeah.
And they go to these big schools because they want to get to the league.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they see some other avenues, they're like, oh, I can get to the league anyway. Like, yeah, some of them might be more apt to hit up HBCUs and whatnot. And that sponsorship money and all that marketing money and all that bowl money and association money, it's got to start funneling into those schools.
Start going there, for sure.
Right? That could be the beginning of something.
I think it really could be the beginning of something. And this is the thing that worries me about it, though. I ain't gonna say worry, but it's just one of those things that it's a pride thing for sure. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, these first couple of classes, like what's my man name, Mikey and the dude from out here.
Yeah. I know
Imani Bates.
Imani Bates. Yeah.
Dog, so like if they decide to go to these schools and they bring a couple people with them, the reality of it is that they not go get the full benefit of making that move. They will be at that point, they'll be pioneers. And and it's gonna be rough because like the schools honestly right now, they not built for the capacity. Like they not ready. And I think that might be hard for a lot of egos.
It could be. Yeah.
That's hard for a lot of egos. Because you don't go.
I'm the best. I'm the number one rated recruit in the country.
Exactly.
And I'm about to go to Florida A&M.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm about to go to Morgan State.
Right. And they're not gonna have that same. They not yet. Not a few classes gonna have to do it in order for it to happen.
Oh yeah, it's gonna take a good 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to get.
And somebody gonna have to not scared. Yeah, somebody gonna have to be not scared to be the pioneer because you're not gonna receive all the benefits that like the ones behind. But that's our thing though. Like I always mention about everything in this movement, and it's been a movement since I've been alive, which is crazy. But that's the thing. We got to be willing to make sacrifices that we might not necessarily like benefit from personally.
Yeah.
And that's tough. That's a tough decision to make sometimes because you like, damn, I want it now. Instant gratification.
Yeah.
But like if they go, what's my Mikey and Imani Bates, like if they went and did that right now, they'll be setting a trend, but they might not necessarily receive the benefits themselves. But they'll be setting it up for so many people, and that's a lot to take on, and it's an ego thing though, because like a lot of people don't want to bite the bullet like that, especially in sports. Especially us because we put sports on like a different level.
Yeah, you see some onesies and twosies that are doing it and have done it, from time to time. But like back in the day, like it's all the time though. Like,
it was all the time.
Yeah, cats was going. Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley, I think it was.
Mississippi Valley,
yeah, all kinds of cats coming out, like Grambling back in like 70s, 80s, and what. It's been done.
Aaron McNair, man, rest in peace.
Yeah, the one thing that I've learned from coaching, if you are good,
you good.
they will find you.
True.
You know what I mean? You will get a shot. It may not, like I say, it may not be all the glamour and glitz that you want. Yeah. But they will find you. Believe me.
Yeah. I think that's the case too. And a lot of a lot of kids, man. Honestly, a lot of kids get to positions, especially depending on where they're coming from, and they find out when they get into these bigger programs that they may not have been as good as they thought they were. I think we see that often though. Yeah. But as like top tier black athletes though, I think it really should be a push. It's a hard sell. It's gonna be a hard sell, but I think it really should be a good push to like get these kids into these HBCUs. And I have to admit though, so this is one of those teachable moments or learning moments, I guess you would call it. When I was going to school, quite honestly, I looked at it completely different. Shout out to Angry Principal. When I was graduating from Martin Luther King Junior Senior High School, the best high school in Detroit City, I had a couple of schools I could go to because my grades weren't terribly great. So I ended up going to Eastern, but he was trying to get me to go to HBCU. Like he had a couple of plugs. I could have went a couple of places, but like I didn't go, like sincerely out of fear, because I felt like I wasn't really great at school, and I felt like if I didn't get out of my environment, it was gonna suck me down even more. But it wasn't until after I went to school and got out and everything is when I realized like I think I missed the opportunity. I think I was looking at it completely backwards. I think that in that instance, I probably would have flourished more because people around me looked like me and were probably more interested in me succeeding. I never looked at it that way though until after the fact. So I think we got to kind of change that narrative too, and this might help these kids like make those decisions to go to HBCUs. I mean, like if we just really went to our own schools though, like that should be crazy. That should be crazy, dog.
Talk about like an instant like power shift for those kids.
Dog, power shift.
In those schools, Juneteenth, what to celebrate? Do we celebrate? Definitely celebrate. The other thing, with everything that's going on right now, obviously, rest in power to George Floyd, revive to his family and whatnot. But celebrate the fact that like black people are like, I don't want to say waking up, but like they're starting to kind of put their foot down about things now. Yeah, for sure. Getting into all these different realms that we, get into like bourbon and guns and all that type of stuff. Like, like people starting to realize, like, okay, this shit needs to change. Celebrate the fact that like that's going on right now.
Exactly.
Right. I'm not saying you got to be happy with it.
Right.
Right. Because things not what they should be.
Exactly.
And out of all this, I think maybe that's the one thing that I regret that didn't happen during all of this, right? And it probably didn't because, like, obviously, this was unexpected, so it just, organically grew.
Yeah, this was definitely a jump off.
Yeah. The one thing's like, so, I'm going to get political for a little bit, right? So I think there's really, like, 3 pillars that kind of sustains the system, you know what I mean? You've got the police.
Right.
You've got white supremacy. And then you've got capitalism.
Right.
I think all 3 of those run in tune. You know what I mean? And I think that because of this.
That's an interesting mix, though.
We are not capitalists.
Yeah.
Like you and I. We aren't. We're workers. We're people.
Workers in a capitalist society.
Those politicians that are profiting like crazy, these executives that are profiting like crazy, they are capitalists.
Mm-hmm.
They have manipulated and, from behind the scenes, held the strings for centuries, right?
Centuries.
Yes, centuries.
Centuries, yes.
To make the conditions prime for what's going on now, right? My thing is this, and when you have that system in place, you need to protect that system.
Yeah.
So how do you protect that system? The police. The police are not the police should be an organic community type of thing, right?
I'm sorry. I know it should be.
Right?
You're right. I laugh at the idea that some people think it is.
Because, if you go back, historians, you go back in history, thousands of years ago, typically communities have kind of policed themselves, So, definitely we can figure it out now. But the police are now basically a paramilitary force.
Yeah.
And, I think about when I was in the Army and I think about now, and my Army, you approach every situation with caution and everybody could be the enemy.
Right.
You look at the aggressive and get everyone.
Yeah. And that's what the police do.
And that's what the police do.
For sure.
They see us as insurgents. They don't see you as citizens. They don't see us as citizens.
Yeah, I was gonna say us. Yeah.
They see us as insurgents. Like a problem to deal with.
Think about that for a minute, though. Before you even get to the rest of your point, I just want that to sit with you real quick. Insurgents. Think about that shit. Because when we looked at when America went overseas and they called those people insurgents, think about that. You looking in the mirror and you are declared an insurgent. Just think about that for a minute. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. No, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. Then we had the other pillar, white supremacy, and white supremacy has started since day one. Right?
I got a question about that real quick. With white supremacy, because it's something that I asked a few people and I kind of battle with it myself. As far as white supremacy, do you think that's rooted out of fear or hate?
I don't think it's rooted out of either. I think it's rooted out of greed.
Okay.
And I say that because we wanted. I say we. Those old white folks that came up here a long time ago.
Right.
They wanted to pay less taxes. They wanted this. They wanted that. They wanted this.
Yeah.
Basically, they came over here to a whole other place that wasn't theirs because they was trying to get that come up. That's what it was.
Basically,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
You read all that shit in history books about religious freedom. That's all bullshit. They try to get some money, right? But Lincoln even said it. Y'all niggas is free, but don't think y'all equal. So when your president says that, there's no way in the world a system can be made for you. Right. It's being made for them to profit off of it. We don't. Yes, I get it. Some of us is going to school with them, whatever, whatnot, and yeah, a lot of us are living better than our parents and stuff like that. I get that point, right? Think about where you could be if it was an level playing field out here, though. Right. Think about generational wealth. Think about that type of shit. We're just now passing on things to our kids and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right?
It's
just now happening, and not a lot, but I see it.
Right. Not a lot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not a lot.
And so to kind of wrap this up, I get back to the original point. The thing I regret, we protested, but we didn't have any demands.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that before.
And when you take a hostage, and that's what that's essentially did. People were upset, they were mad. Yeah. The police department fundamentally was challenged. For the first time in a long time, they was oh shit, these niggas are serious.
Right.
They was challenged. And we had them on the ropes.
Yeah.
And that's when we should have made our demands or whatever it would have been. Maybe it's not all a unified thing. Maybe it's city by city. Maybe it's community by community. I don't know what that looks like, right? But it's we took the hostage with no demands. He was yeah, nigga. Yeah. Yeah, nigga. Right. Yeah. Right. All right, I guess you can go now.
Yeah. Right, yeah, no.
Because what instantly happened is all the outcry about the violence and the looting and all that type of stuff and the rioting. And you know what? Looting can be used as a strategy. But this is the thing, you are not going to gain any allies with looting. Because people, it usually turns out to be more bad than good, right? Because then the people that might have got some support for you, they might have been okay, I don't fuck with you no more.
Exactly, right? Yeah, because you niggas are.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just trying to, and of course, this is all my opinion, right? And I'm just trying to help other people that might listen. I'm not advocating for violence, but they were on the ropes then. Like, for real, they were like police departments, like, for real scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all this comes about, and all of a sudden, it's this like sudden rush, this sudden push for peaceful protests and nonviolence and things like that. And you know what? Like, the capitalists are cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, all y'all niggas mad? Okay.
Yeah, because then, you know, they get back to
Yeah.
original thing that
Okay.
they benefiting off of black stripes.
So, you know, so when you do that, you know what they got to do? All they got to do is wait you out.
Yeah.
They be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Right.
2 months later, people have forgot about everything. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen.
I hope not.
But that's how things have kind of, you know, especially in like nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Flavor of the month, something else.
Exactly.
Flavor of the month, something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so they just wait you out.
Because during this whole process, don't get it wrong, during this whole process that we protesting, like, people still get killed by the police.
Yeah,
It ain't like it stopped. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing too. Like,
Right.
riot gear, all that type stuff. You know, like, yeah. Like, and just because y'all protesting peacefully, don't necessarily mean you ain't gonna get your head bashed in.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of demands. I think. I think from state to state, some of the laws have been changed as far as law enforcement. Some states are actually looking into defunding police. I gotta
touch on that too.
Me too. I gotta say something about that too.
Okay.
But damn, because it's in my head now, I can't get it out.
Say it.
Yeah, all right, fuck it. Let's go to that real quick. So, my man's, what's the dude's name? Damn, I just posted his article yesterday. Charlie LaDuff, right? Mm-hmm. I fuck with Charlie LaDuff. If you're from the Detroit area, Charlie LaDuff is a white dude and shit who he on the streets like battling shit. Like, he really, like, I trusted him. You know what I'm saying? I say I trusted. I guess I still do, but he wrote an article about defunding the police, especially in Detroit, that I didn't necessarily agree with. I thought that the article was deceptive. So he's saying that defunding the police, like, so that didn't work for the city of Detroit, right? So this is what the article says. So I'm reading the article, and I think everything he's saying in there is factual. So yeah, so the crime rates went up, like children were being killed. These are facts. I live here, so I know this shit was true. But I think to say that it was because the police department was defunded is deceptive, dog. Like, the reality of it is that they defunded schooling too, though, right? So they defunded schooling programs. After school programs was non-existent. There's no real employment opportunities inside the city. That contributes to crime rate increase, not defunding the police. So that shit was deceptive as hell, and I fuck with him though. But then I see how the media does it though. You know what I'm saying? So that article I can't fuck with. I don't know if it's because we in the cancel culture. I don't want to cancel the nigga off right, but like at this point, I see how deceptive it is and how they trying to change the narrative to scare people into thinking that defunding the police is not the way to go. So that's all I have to say about that.
I feel that. No. Like, totally, right? Defund the police does not mean, like, totally get rid of the police.
Right.
That's not what it means.
Right.
But if you are on some abolish the police type stuff, right? Like, those other two pillars I talked about, you got to get rid of those too.
Right.
Because that's what the police, they're built on that.
Right, that's what
you know what I mean?
police.
Yeah. It's like, for y'all Christians out there, it's like the Holy Trinity. You know, capitalism, white supremacists, police.
Wow.
I'm so serious.
The Holy Trinity.
They all work together, same person, whatever that is, the same entity, whatever. It all, plays into each other.
Sure.
So defund the police. New York City has a $6 billion police budget. $6 billion.
For what?
Police officers are not making that much money.
At all.
Right? Yeah, I know you got equipment, you got maintenance, you got expenses, you got this type. Where's the rest of that money going?
Right.
The city of Detroit has just over a $2 billion police budget.
And they making $20,000.
Like salaries, benefits. I looked at it. It's all open source material. I looked at it. Like, all that adds up to like $360 or $390 million, like salaries, benefits, and all that type of stuff. Like, their expenditures for I think it was the year of 2018, total like $600 million or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. But they got a $2 billion.
Right. So where is that?
So where's the rest of it going?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So yes, that's what we mean by defund the police. Take some of that money and, like you said, put it in the education. Put it in the job, training, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put it into the schools. I can remember growing up at times where like we didn't have enough books to go around in the classroom. What kind of shit is that?
Yes.
You don't have enough books in the classroom?
Yeah.
You think they got to worry about? Like I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan now. For y'all that are familiar with the area, if I go to Swing High School or Chelsea High School, they ain't gonna what? Not have a book? Are you crazy? That's not gonna happen. How is that equal playing? It's not.
Just to even look at that, just to put that in a recent time frame, just how these schools outside of the city were actually able to transition when it was time for these kids to go home and learn from school. Like these kids out here, especially just from personal experience, I know in Bloomfield, they already had like laptops. So transitioning to homeschooling was easy. Like take your laptop home.
Right.
We go teach you from, remotely. Then you go inside the city, we ain't barely got no books, let alone laptops. So learning from school was your mama trying to teach you.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
No, right? Exactly, right?
And I don't care that you didn't get a proper education. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
And this is why it's frustrating, dog. This is why it's frustrating. So they go home, mom's working a job where she got to be on Zoom meetings, or for us, like in the inner city, there's a lot of essential workers because it's some of these jobs that you can't work from home. So like you got nobody really at home teaching the kids. You don't have that connection back to the school because that infrastructure is fucked. So you don't even have the opportunity to teach from home or teach from the school remotely like you do in some of these other schools. And those are the problems. Defunding the police means that you can take some of that money and put it back into the education. Like when you're able to go to a school and have all your curriculum online, like I think people look at that as like something that's normal. But inside the city, it's not normal. Like it's not even normal to have enough books. Like you said, when we was in school, you would be reading from books that like your old ass cousins was reading from.
Y'all gotta share that book, okay?
Dog, yes, and how is that possible?
I've been told that before. You gotta share that book,
bruh. How is that though? And you
in the United States of America.
Dog, exactly right. But then everywhere else is everywhere else. Man, look, me and Angry Principal had a whole other conversation about that. Like we have that conversation every day, and like I don't even know what to say about that. Locally, I'm all about the votes. I'm all about the.
Yes,
I'm all about that.
Locally.
I am hard pressed to really say that I'm going to vote for a president. Yes, I am going to the polls on that day because I know that's when they slide local shit on you on the presidential elections. So I know it's other shit I need to vote for. I'm not really sure though if I honestly want to vote for the lesser of two evils. Whoever gets in office, they need to reach our demands. Like, period. Whether it's racist 45 or Biden or whoever, like I need a way for us to shift our power, which means to me is lobbying and money. Money and lobbying is what's going to change the course of the laws that we need to be changed or to make the politicians do what we want them to do. Who I'm putting in office, I think at some point it's never really go. I don't want to say never, but it just don't seem like a logical solution to me. Because what's going on right now is whoever get into office, they always being manipulated by, like you always say, where the money coming from. Mm-hmm. So wherever the money coming from is what these politicians are going to do. And that's why we never have a real black agenda. And you know what? I really like, and I loved Cory Booker all the way up until he ran for president. Because then I understood that like, once they get to the main stage, this whole idea of a black agenda just goes out the window. And at this moment, especially at this moment, I am certainly back on that shit. If I don't have, because this is all I want. If I don't have a serious, this is even more serious than law enforcement reform or whatever you want to call it, defund the police or whatever. I need to have a serious conversation about reparations. If it's not a serious conversation about reparations, like a serious conversation that can actually get some bills passed or whatever, yeah, shit is gonna be hard pressed to get my vote. I ain't gonna lie.
And for y'all who do vote for president, I guess you don't really have much of a choice because there's only two shitty people, right? The thing I hope that doesn't happen is this whole protesting, the riots, and all that. I know you don't fuck with the word riots, and that's cool. I respect that, but I use that shit because rioting is a tactic. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that's. What do you think? I mean, I'm going back some years. what do you think the Boston Tea Party was? It wasn't shit but a riot.
Right.
And now we look upon that shit far. Well, I don't, but like mainstream America does, right?
Yeah.
You know, like they celebrate that shit. And that's, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling y'all to go break into Walmart and get you a 70-inch, right? I'm not saying that right now, right?
Hey, did you see that broke into a Walmart though?
Yeah, Walmart, yeah.
Ice Cube was like he was gonna pay for that shit. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but the thing I don't want to happen with this is it gets liberalized, right? And what I mean by that is, Joe Biden and camp come swooping on in and just like, yeah, fuck with y'all, blah, 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 this type of stuff, and unity, that type, whatever. Mm-hmm. And people were like, oh, okay, yeah. Even though he didn't really say nothing and didn't offer you any tangibles, right. He just got your vote, right?
Right.
And like I say it all the time, I've said it on other shows, we're already skeptical of the right and the far right and the near right, pretty much anything that's right. Like, I already get it, I get it.
Right.
And I'm at the point, I know a lot of us aren't, but I'm at the point where I'm also as skeptical about the left.
Yeah.
Because they play that game with, like, yeah, we cool, we equal, yeah, we unity, right? Until it's really time to get down.
Right.
Or they try to jump onto some shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I hope that doesn't happen with this whole, it gets all political. I mean, it already kind of had, it already got politicized and things like that. But I just hope, like, people that vote for Biden, I just hope you really support Biden, if you go to vote for him, you know what I mean? And just not on some fly-by-night type shit, I guess, right? Yeah. It doesn't really make a difference, I guess, because, like, once you vote, that's that vote. Yeah. But, I don't know, I just want people to think critically about these things rather than just like, oh, on MSNBC, like, yeah, but what did you research for yourself?
Right.
Like the defund the police thing.
Yeah.
People always, they talk about the law and order candidate, more bars, more walls, more guards, more police. Like, it's been proven time to time.
That didn't work with Nixon.
Yeah, it's all kinds of studies all over the place about how that does not equate to lower crime rates.
Exactly.
What equates to lower crime rates is you give some people some opportunity to learn a skilled trade, right?
Bottom line,
not to share a book in school.
Bottom line, in layman's terms,
not to rely on the good.
Give niggas something to do. And then they won't commit
crime. You gotta have equal. You have no opportunity.
Right.
Right. Yeah. There may be some construction job out in any Madison Heights or whatever. I don't know any suburb or whatever. Right.
How?
Yeah. Wherever. But if you live on the east side or the west side or whatever, and let's say you take the bus, that's your motor. A lot of people don't own cars. That's how they get around. Like, how do you get out there and things like that? Because those opportunities aren't in your community, right? So, like, yeah, there may be these jobs and stuff out there, but, like, how are people having access to these things? How do people know about these things? How do they know the questions to ask? That's the opportunity. I'm not saying just go sign me a check, right? Yeah, I believe we are OF reparations.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not asking for a check just because I don't want to work. You see what I'm saying?
Right, for sure. And that's kind of the connotation they put on that. And just to kind of piggyback on what you had said just a moment ago about these jobs outside the city, and people having to take the bus to those things, like, you gotta see what's going into that too, though. So not only do some of these people they're not able to afford like a vehicle, but also living inside the city, we're being redlined, so insurance is even higher.
Yeah.
So if you don't have insurance for your vehicle, then you can't get a vehicle. If you don't have insurance, then you can't get tags for your vehicle. So if you do have a vehicle, then you out here illegal. So now you got $1,000 worth of tickets, and you can't get to the job. So
and people don't say your insurance is high because the crime rate is so high,
bruh.
Because people ain't got jobs. They ain't got
it's a circle.
That's systemic racism.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
Dog, but insurance inside the city is fucking unbelievable, dog.
But we got to talk about something happy again, Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Juneteenth, baby.
We got sidetracked.
Oh, one thing I don't like about Juneteenth, and I know, like, some of y'all like it, but I don't like the flag. Like the official Juneteenth flag. Yeah, the red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
That's my Juneteenth flag right there. You know what I mean?
He said
the red, white, blue. Yeah.
Red, black, and green.
For sure.
Yeah, so, all right, you're right. Let's get back on to some brighter things.
So celebrate.
Yeah, so celebrate, man. Juneteenth.
Celebrate this movement.
Yeah, for sure, man. And this, again, I think that where people get confused with, with Black Lives Matters and fucking, and all of this shit that we're arguing for or fighting for, I think where people get confused is that that we're taking something away from somebody else. Like the whole thing is, how can it be
We're
so
getting back pay. We're getting back pay. That's what that is. It's owed to us.
retroactive?
Yeah, retroactively.
Sure.
My bad, go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you get put in a position where they try to change that narrative too to make it seem like now we're trying to take something from other groups. And to be honest with you, dog, when it comes to us at this point in my life, because I done got old and a little bit bitter, and I think James Baldwin said it best, of course, you know, once a nigga is woke, nigga, you can't be nothing but angry. I just paraphrased that. But the truth is, though, is that...
Once a nigga woke,
Yeah,
once
a nigga woke, you gonna be angry. I mean, basically, that's what he said.
Just like that, too.
Yeah, I mean, you probably did behind closed doors. Did he? He said it a little more articulate in real life. But the reality of it is, I think got to a point that I don't really give a fuck about everybody else. At this point, us worrying about everybody else is probably what got us into this situation in the first place, though. So I don't give a fuck about everybody else. I want some shit for us at this point. And now we talking about a point where we didn't cry and we tried to do solidarity and we tried to do all the unity shit. And again, I know we probably a little bit on different edges on the compass on this, but some of these motherfucking allies and shit, I'm with your energy. Whether your intent is the same or not, I'm gonna use your energy and then I'm gonna drop your ass off when we get to where we going. Because at this point, we've been done the same way. Nigga, all of our resources have been used and we got dropped off. So I'm learning how to do that too. We go use your energy and then we go drop your ass off. Because sometimes we do need some extra energy to get to where we at. But once we get there, I'm gonna drop you off, cuz.
So I gotta respond to that because I know y'all talk about that on the show. Mm-hmm. And I remember I called in that day, right?
Yeah, so, a little angry.
So I'm gonna say this, right? Not that I don't think, you know, I think people if you're not black, right? You're white or whatever.
Non-black allies.
Non-black folks. Y'all want to help. Yeah. Okay? Support in whatever way you can. I'm not going to come to you ask for it. I'm not going to thank you for it because you did it and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something personally between you and I, yeah I'll reach out, obviously, right? That's just being, you know, because human beings.
Right?
Yeah. Jeez.
We decent human beings.
But like if you go to a protest or something like that, that's cool. But like, don't expect people to like worship you for it, I guess, you know. And I have been seeing some of that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, that's all I'm saying about the allies. We got to be very careful about how much we celebrate them, right? Because, you know, I see sometimes it's posted and it's like, oh, my white friends and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know that, but that don't have to be like sitting all over everywhere. You know what I mean?
You have to put them on a pedestal.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's what good human beings do.
Right. You know that's what you're supposed to be doing in the first place. Right. For sure, though. So as far as let's get back to Juneteenth, though, because this is easy to get sidetracked when we're talking about this.
Juneteenth.
So like, what would you think would be like?
Celebrate this guy right here.
Oh, Cabernet, right? Celebrate that guy.
Yeah.
What would be ideal celebration? You would think for
ideal celebration?
Yeah, ideal celebration.
I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm cool with just chilling on my deck with a couple of homeboys, drinking, grill, some nice looking women around, things like that.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
I feel you. And I think also too though, this is important. Let's say that you don't celebrate. Let's say you don't go out and barbecue and set off fireworks and shit. I think this is a very important time to start having these conversations with your kids. Like, this is a conversation that needs to be had with your kids and your little nieces, nephews, neighborhood kids, just about Juneteenth and like about that whole thing. Like, they need to be educated on that whole thing with the Civil War. I keep going back to the Civil War shit because it's simply amazing to me that I lived my entire life and this has never been taught to me. Like, what really happened in the Civil War, like what the fight was really for. When slavery actually ended, like, did it actually end? The things that went into so-called slavery ended.
Ain't
like,
no Amazon and no social media then. Like, it takes time to spread news back there, right?
Exactly. So I think if you not go like celebrate, if you're not into the whole like, you know, setting off fireworks and barbecuing type shit, then that's fine.
That's cool too, yeah.
But you do need to take this time. This is a very educational point. I feel like if you come out of this whole movement we got going on, with Floyd being killed and shit, and the rest of the people who continue to be killed by the police, and our kind of like advancement in this Black Lives Matter kind of movement, and I almost hate using that term, but
Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, kind of, because it's commercialized now. So like using it now kind of sound
it's
like
commercialized, but like but like we get it.
Yeah, we get. So I just like to call it the movement because like when I call it Black Lives Matter, I feel like it's been commercialized to the point where like other people just benefiting off of it. So I don't really want to give it that stand. But it's our movement. I just call it that. But I feel like if you come out of this and your kids don't know more about themselves and our culture, then we failed at that point. So like we got the stronghold on people's attention right now. We need to come up with our demands. We need to start really pinpointing what we want to change and not just saying we want change, but what those changes are. But at the end of the day, too, within ourselves, within our own culture, we need to also be giving them this information. May not be as important as educating. I think that's the whole thing. And even people that's older. Because like, let me see, what was this? Last night, excuse me, I was having a conversation with my nephew. My nephew, 33, so he old, you know what I'm saying? And we was having conversation about Juneteenth. I was telling about, where the date came from, the 1865 shit, the Emancipation Proclamation, all that shit. And it's like, I was educating him on some shit that he wasn't really well versed on. But that's the thing though. We get to this age and nobody has told us, dog. And that shit can't happen. So we at a point now that we got access to information. We need to start letting these kids and everybody in our community know so that we know what we fighting for. Because some people out here just think they know some shit different, like kids anyway. They know some shit different, but they don't really know what's going on. So take this time out to educate people. Educate them and don't ridicule them though. Because it's some shit I don't know. And when people tell me new shit, like I'm all about it because this is something that we need to know. Because in order to get to where we're trying to go, I know it's cliche, but you gotta know where you come from. You know what I'm saying? Like you really gotta know that. But for me, I think the perfect celebration, I think for me, is kind of a combination of both. Like I want to be able to, like what you said. So let's say that we having a little powwow, a little barbecue or something, some friends over. I think that part is important. But then I think the conversations we having right now need to be a part of our celebration.
It's definitely gonna be.
So we do that anyway. But like
we do that just on the Tuesday afternoon.
But for everybody, I think it's important though. So like while you out barbecuing or celebrating or doing whatever you are, I think it's important to share some stories. Like share some good stories, I guess too, because it's hard. Trust me, it's hard to.
We all got them good red stories. I know, and they funny and they entertaining. I get it.
Right. But you gotta share some stories. And as far as like, again, I keep harping on this, I know, but start having some real conversations about the Civil War and what transpired at that point and what basically created what we live in now. Like have some serious conversations about that. I wish somebody had a conversation with me early or pointed me in a direction to where I can learn this information. How can you go through an entire school system and you reading about wars everywhere else and where America has conquered, but you don't ever learn what happened on your own soil? How is that possible? And I'm gonna tell you how it's possible, right? The reason is they don't want you to know, niggas. I gotta say this too, though. This is something that happened to me just the other day, and I didn't want to get back into this shit, but we back into it. I was putting together this little compilation of videos for one of my clients, and I was trying to get a lot of protest footage. Mm-hmm. So I'm Googling YouTube and this shit, trying to splice some shit together, and this is when I understood how this whole shit worked. So I'm going through all this footage, and then I'm like, there's some parts in here that I want to show what we protesting about. You know what I'm saying? Like what's really happening at these protests. And for 2 hours, dog, 2 hours, I didn't find any footage of police kicking nobody's ass at protest. How is that possible? I know they doing it because we seen it. Like it happened. They show it on the news and then they erase it.
There's a book. Damn, I can't think. I got it upstairs. I'll have to share it with you. I'll share it with y'all too. When we air this on Wednesday, we'll put an update or something on there.
Okay.
But regarding that, don't think like these Googles and these Facebooks and these Amazons and these Instagrams and these.
They erasing it.
Twitter not as much. Twitter be on. They try to play fair, right? But it's still something there too, though. Yeah. Like these algorithms are like they downright just racist.
Dog, they are. Fuck me all up. So I'm like, how is this possible? Cause I know damn well the police in New York was kicking motherfuckers' asses. White people here. Yeah, that's right. So I'm seeing this on local news when it's happening, so I know it's happening. But now all of a sudden, it's not available. Like while I'm searching shit, I'm like, okay, I see how that works. Now people say it all the time. Like history being whitewashed and shit. But I think it's a different feeling when you watching it happen in real time. And if you think I'm bullshitting, like after you watch this show, like Google some shit and try to find some YouTube footage. You gonna be hard pressed to find police kicking people asses at these protests because they trying to change the narrative. Now I did find a lot of motherfuckers stealing and looting and vandalizing police shit, but I couldn't find shit where the police was kicking people ass, and I know it is happening. Mm-hmm. Like I seen it, but then all of a sudden it got erased. Like it's happening in real time in your face. So like when I tell you that this shit needs to be documented for a personal thing like that, because that's what I've been doing. Like I've been writing my own shit because you never know when you gonna get to a point like, let's say generations from now, maybe your kids and their kids, like you a grandfather or grandmother or some shit, and they gonna be asking about what happened and they not gonna be able to find it. That's when you gonna have to bust out your old ass book and show them what happened, because the narrative is always gonna be changed, especially since everything electronically, they got a handle on that shit, though. They got a handle on that shit. Everything you thought, in order to prove some shit, you gonna have to have some kind of like viable proof. And if they erasing everything electronic, you gonna have to have some of this shit on your own. So that's why these is conversations and shit that you need to document yourself. That's why when we went to the Peace March at Belle Isle, like I took my own pictures. Like I wanted to be there to document my own shit because I know that the media go always spin shit, and the internet is theirs. Like I don't really know no other way to say that. The internet is theirs, so they go give you whatever it is they want you to have. So I think this goes back to celebrating Juneteenth. With that celebration needs to come education. That's something for us. That's something for the people behind us. The people above us didn't have this opportunity that we have, which is that access to information. So they didn't have that. So I'm giving them a pass on that. We got to pick up the torch because I think the ball was dropped in there somewhere as far as passing information. Some of the information they didn't know, didn't have access to, or maybe didn't even know how to tell us. But we're in a position to transfer the information. We got to do that. So go ahead.
Celebrate however you want to celebrate. Barbecue, do some reading, do some research, whatever. Have a discussion.
Right.
But.
And speaking of reading.
Yeah.
This book that you was just
talking about.
Let's talk
about. I had to go grab it real quick. Algorithms of oppression. How search engines reinforce racism. I'm like, some deep stuff in here, like for real. And it's factual based. It's not just somebody on a tangent or on a rant or something like that. It's like it's case studies and all that other type of stuff in there. So check it out when y'all get a chance.
Definitely a dope book. I'm gonna check that out. So it's Algorithms of Oppression. And it's completely exactly what I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. And without ever hearing of this book or even reading about this book, I experienced it firsthand, so I know it's true. And that shit was crazy, so I had to mention it to people. So right now, man, whatever you're going through, like if you see something, quite honestly, I really feel like you need to be screen recording a lot of shit and document a lot of shit yourself, because at some point it's gonna be hard to find because they trying to hide it, duh. But all right, so
I know he been on the negative stuff.
I know.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Right.
Celebrate your friends. Celebrate your grandparents. Yeah. Celebrate the dude, like the old dude in the hood that used to school everybody and whatnot.
For sure.
Go up to him, dab him up or not, bring him a beer or some shit, whatever. You know what I mean?
You know what? On that tip though, before we get out of here and shit, since you brought that up, is it somebody like that you want to like give a little nod to and shit while we talking about giving some of the unsung heroes? Anybody you want to give a shout out like on that tip then?
Yeah, I mean it will be a few people.
Yeah. What's your if you got a few?
Number one, my pops. Rest in power. You know what I mean?
Sure.
My pops. Yeah, he always be number one right there. I guess to some extent, and she probably be surprised to hear this though. Be my sister.
Yeah.
Like my sister.
She'd be surprised.
Yeah. She on some for real like independent like black woman type like not that angry shit that they try to get us to believe that single black woman like I know some of y'all out there, but that's just not the norm, right?
Oh yeah.
Like she about her business and shit like so I watch her. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I respect that shit about her, right?
That's what's up.
Outside of family though, man.
She'll be happy to hear that shit, I'm sure.
outside of my sister though, I will say she prissy. She ain't gonna be, you know what I mean? So she don't. Oh, you swearing?
Swearing.
You swearing? But for real, like outside of the family, I probably say, person who kept it really real with me, and I wish I knew her better. But like even though I didn't know her well, I knew her, she knew me. Like when I had some issues, I could go talk to her about it and like work it out. When I was at Adrian College, Trish.
Oh, yeah.
Trish, I don't know if you ever watch us or whatever, but Trish Gray, I know it was, your name's longer than that. I forget.
Patricia.
Forgive me.
Patricia?
Yeah, no, like her, your maiden name or your whatever it was. I know it's longer. I ain't gonna put all your business out there.
I think we friends on Facebook, so I'll cut this part. We'll edit it and tag it.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cut her off. Cut her last name out anyway, I guess. Yeah. But Trish, I want to give her a shout out because
that's what's up.
She was always real cool, always willing to listen. Realized that we was young and we had a little wild in us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like she just always kept it 100 with us. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Damn, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's one that took me off guard. I didn't think that one. Okay. For me, I mean, obviously, it's some family members. Obviously, my old man and shit, and my granddad too. Both my granddads passed, but thinking about actually both of them though taught me some things, and definitely I think I was thankful for their insight. My grandfather, which is on my father's side, he was from Tennessee. Brought his whole family up here, to the north to live a better life. But I think also my other granddad, which was my mom's dad, brought them up here from from down south. But he came up here and started working at the Dodge plant, which the automotive industry in Detroit was booming back then. So that's why he was able to kind of build a life from there. He used to tell me about the stories when he was down south and just how oppressive it was. And it's crazy that out of that kind of oppression, like this shit happened. Like we got a family up here now because of what he went through and was able to sacrifice. So always salute to him and shit. But like on a more up to date level and not family, some real shit, man. I think I mention this to niggas all the time, but I gotta give a shout out to my homeboy Coke, man. Like, cause Coke is an older dude and shit in my neighborhood, and was always like a big brother to everybody. Like some dudes had daddies, some niggas didn't. Some niggas had older brothers, but he was always the dude that kind of kept us in line and was out about it. Nigga never smoked or drank in his life, so he never gave us like the bullshit. The only thing that we probably caught on from him is women and shit. We love women. But right, who don't, right? But yeah, shout out to my guy, because he always been a stand-up dude in the community, always looked out for us, still look out to this day, like to this day. Like when I was a kid up till now, it's always been like my big brother. So shout out to Coke, give him a nod real quick. And my whole circle is the shit. I tell y'all this shit all the time. If y'all don't believe it, then you just don't know me then, because my whole circle is the shit. But just want to give him a nod. I think that's it, because I could go on for days. What I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. There's a lot of folks out there.
Yeah. So you say Trish, I'm gonna say Coke. Those are our two outside of family. So yeah, I think that was kind of dope though, because when you mentioned it about saluting some people that you wouldn't normally, I thought that was a good idea to go ahead and jump in there and say that.
Sure.
But back to the liquor real quick before we close it. I will give it a little rating, and I guess we'll start with you. So it's what you think though? I mean, obviously you already had an idea, but like, what would you give it on a rating from 1 to 5?
So on the Black Power Fist scale, I'm gonna give it 4 solid Black Power Fists.
For sure.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 4. Not 4, but 4. I'm with you on that though, low key. The only reason I'm not gonna give it a 5 is because of Uncle Lyrics. That's the only reason I'm not gonna give it a 5. But I think we in agreement on this. Is definitely giving it 4 pounds. You know what I'm talking about? 4 pounds, man. Black power. And I know you. I guess you probably surprised because you didn't think I was gonna like it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, this shit is like you said before. I don't think there's no other way to describe it, but the shit is delicious. Yeah. It really is.
I know some people be like, oh, it's so much going, it's so complex, blah blah blah.
It's a lot.
This shit is good.
and it hit your palate like I want to say at least 3 different times going in and shit. I think it is some citrus, like for some reason, like in the middle on mine and shit. The tip though, I think is kind of the tip not really sweet for some reason, but once it goes down, it gets a little sweeter. And then on the back end, I thought it was kind of spicy, but then I kind of tasted like the cocoa in it. I think a lot of times when once people mention it, then you kind of notice it. At least that's how it worked with me. So yeah, definitely give me a solid 4.
You know what I just thought of? I don't know why. You talking about old neighborhood people and whatnot?
Dude.
Pony down. What? I don't know why that just popped in my head.
If you're from the city of Detroit, man, you will understand what we're talking about, dog.
Pony down?
Pony down, man.
Yeah.
Why did that come in your
Why that popped in my head?
Best
Probably
friends
because
2020.
probably some one of the old dudes that in the neighborhood I grew up in. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, my bad. But yeah, the liquor.
Pony down. That's funny, man. On that note, I guess we gonna get up out of here. Any last minute sentiments you want to leave the people with, bro?
Hey, go out there and celebrate yourselves, folks. You know what I mean? Celebrate your friends. Celebrate whatever.
Yeah.
Just, find the good in this. Take advantage. Get with your folks. Make some demands. And I'll show you.
Make some demands. For sure, man. On that tip, man, take this opportunity to celebrate Juneteenth. Educate people who don't know about it. Educate yourselves. Even if you think you know what Juneteenth is about, it's no problem to learn even more. No matter how old you are or how much experience you think you have, you're never done learning. So that's one thing that I think, especially as black people, we got to understand that you just don't know it all, and that's okay. And if you around people and you know the most, then you probably need to add a couple more people to your circle. Till the next time, man, you already know what it is, man. Beers, bourbon, whiskey. Everybody loves BBW. It's your boy, Q Lewis, holding it down live from the 48205. I got my man Bo in the building.
I'll show you.
And this is some delicious motherfucking whiskey.
Happy Juneteenth, y'all.
For sure. Till the next time, man. Peace out.